Now, generally speaking, the questions I get asked the most are gear related questions. What lens should I buy? Do I need a tripod? Should I upgrade my camera body? Look, I love photography, so I like gear as much as the next person, and I love gadgets, but sometimes we get so sidetracked by the gear that we forget about the fundamentals of photography. Now, in this video, what I'm going to show you is that you can completely change and alter the look of your image by adjusting the perspective. And for this, you don't need to go and buy any gear, because it's free. You've already got it. It's all about your feet. Hi, Paul here from Photogenius. This video is all about perspective and how we can use it to completely change the look of our images. Now, I've been teaching photography for 10 years, and during that time, I've noticed something that I think we're all a little bit guilty of, and that is laziness. Particularly if you've got a zoom lens. Let me explain to you what I mean. Now, how many times have you seen something that will make a great photo? Put the camera up to your eye and adjusted the zoom. That's my point. Zoom lenses make us lazy. We let the zoom do the walking for us. Rather than taking a few steps closer to the subject or maybe a few steps back for a wider view, we let the zoom lens do the walking. Now, I'm certainly not anti-zoom. What I want to show you today is that you can be more creative with your photography just by taking a few extra footsteps, but still using your zoom lens. And to help with the video today, I've got my daughter on board. So this is going to be picture number one. I've got my subject in the background here, and I'm going to take a picture. And for this, I'm going to be approximately a meter away from my subject. So I'm going to be going wide with the lens. I've got the lens set to 18 millimeters. Picture one, done. So now I'm a bit further away from my subject, which means that when I look through the viewfinder, my subject now appears smaller and further away. Unless, of course, I zoom in with the lens, because in picture number two, what I want to do is look through the viewfinder and zoom in until the subject takes up roughly the same amount of space as they did in picture number one. I'm going to be zooming into 70 millimeters here. Picture number two done. So to recap, for picture number one, I was nice and close to my subject. So I was shooting at 18 millimeters on the lens, which is wide. My subject took up a certain amount of space within that view, and then I simply walked backwards. My subject did not move, and that's important. Now for picture number two, to get the subject taking up the same amount of space in the frame as picture number one, I then had to zoom in, and the second picture was shot at 70 millimeters on the zoom lens. Now, you might think that these two pictures would look more or less the same, but they look completely different. In the first image, the background appears further away and we can see more of it, and there's a feeling of space and separation between the subject and the background elements. In the second image, where we have zoomed in, the background now appears much closer and the image feels a little bit more claustrophobic. That is because the longer lens is compressing the perspective, but the shorter and wider lens is giving a feeling of space and separation. Let's take a look at some more examples. For this first image, I'm close to the subject, so I'm shooting at 17mm, which is wide. Make a note of how far the buildings are in the background and the person sitting on the bench with the red t-shirt. Picture number two has a completely different feel about it. Taking a few steps back, zooming in with the lens has now compressed the perspective. The buildings appear much closer, as does the person in the red shirt. And finally, we compare two photos of my little stormtrooper. In picture one on the left, we are close to the subject, we're shooting wide, and notice how large the hand looks. It's completely out of proportion, whereas the picture on the right, it looks more in proportion. This is because the longer lens again is compressing the perspective. Now remember, the big difference between these two photos is that I've taken a few steps away from my subject or closer to my subject. Now, it doesn't matter whether you prefer picture number one or picture number two. The point of this video is that if all you ever do is stay in one spot and let the zoom do the walking for you, then you're never going to know what could have been had you simply moved a few steps closer to your subject or a few steps away from your subject. Now this technique is often used by filmmakers as well, and they often call it the dolly zoom or sometimes the vertigo effect. It's pretty awesome. And for this, they're moving the camera in and out whilst adjusting the zoom at the same time. Most famously used in Jaws. Check this out. And this is our version. Adjusting perspective is easy and it's a cool technique, and I think you should go out and try it, and I'd love to see your results. So don't forget to tag us at Photogenius Brisbane so I can check out your photos. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something about perspective. If you like the video, please consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel. I hope to see you again soon. See ya.